3 weeks ago, 11 candidates took their first steps on a journey back to learning.
This promises to be an exciting journey for each one of us.
I was stood in the corner at one stage and I was wearing this kind of a hat, looked like a witch's thing. So I am a dunce was on it.
I don't want to be different. Like, I want to be able to spell and not being embarrassed.
Like, I'm going down there to learn for me child, you know what I mean?
You can take what you like from everybody that sits down and talks to you, but it's yourself that's the teacher.
I have the confidence there to listen and to learn, but I can't hear what the woman is saying.
See, there's characters all across the board, and it's just going to be amazing.
All 11 have their own unique story to tell, but their one common goal is to better their reading and writing. Last week, Norma was one of 3 students chosen for a makeover in order to build self-confidence. Just days before weekend 4 begins, Norma is about to take a second step in building that confidence. She is about to do her first live radio interview. Along with her own tutor in Kinsale.The, she is promoting adult education.
It's radio, do you know, but I mean, I'm around cameras with the past couple of weekends and I seem to be okay.
Hi, Norma. How are you? Are you ready?
Yeah. Well, number one, I'm doing it for me, to improve my own skills and improve my self-esteem and stuff like that. And number 2, I'm doing it for my grandson. My grandson came to visit me around Christmas last year, and he was all excited. He was after getting a new book, and of course, it was, Nan, will you read this for me? So, of course, Nan went into a panic anyway and made my excuses. Oh, I have to make a cup of coffee, or, you know, I'll read it for you in a minute, and hoping that he'd just fall asleep and forget about the book. It was then that it really triggered, you know. I just got this guilt. I just can't express what I felt, but it was definitely my New Year's resolution.
When I first approached her about doing the TV documentary, I thought, oh my God, maybe she's not ready. But I certainly didn't want to deprive her of the opportunity. And I just see her coming so far in such a short time that I could not have conceived this happening.
That was hard.
The change in her, it's incredible, but you would not believe it.
Norma, for somebody listening to us right now, the idea of going back to education, for many it haunts them because they think of all those episodes that they don't want to revisit. What was it like for you?
At the beginning, yes, it was all of those things. It was nervous, it was a big step to take. But I think the hardest part of it all is taking that step.
How old were you when you left school?
I was 13 when I left school.
Back in Capure, Norma plays a recording of the radio interview to the group.
It was always at the back of my mind. Even going to the shops was a big deal for me because I had to stick to a shop that I knew where stuff was on the aisles and stuff like that.
Yeah, she came across very well. I felt proud of her and I felt a little bit embarrassed for her because the fact she was sitting there around the whole lot of us, there was probably no need for her to be embarrassed because she knows us all.
I thought she was very good. She was so relaxed and to the point. She didn't come across nervous at all. She just seemed so positive.
I just got to a stage where I just got sick of all the dead and stuff.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I thought she was very direct and she knew what she was talking about. And it was no bother to her, but she has this confidence about her that I'm doing it now, and I want to do it, you know, which is great, like. And yes, I do see a big change in Norma, and tremendous change.
Well, Norma.
Saturday morning, and before classes start, Vincent, who has struggled to keep up due to his hearing difficulties, arrives with a solution.
This is the mic, Vincent, yeah?
Yeah, I'll touch that to the hair, right?
Okay.
Right, just here.
Brilliant.
Right, hold on, right. Get a grip. Take that.
Well, I said testing,
right.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, right.
So you'll have to tell me to turn that up.
I'll stand up there.
Right?
Right? And then you speak, and
Okay.
we'll be able to tell you whether we hear you.
Brilliant. Okay, can you hear me now?
We'll hear you loud and clear.
Clear.
Clear, yeah.
Do you want me to shout? No, it's okay like that, Vincent. Okay, brilliant. Very good. This guy called Howard Gardner said there's 8 different intelligences, called multiple intelligence. So there's language, number or logical intelligence, visual, musical, bodily, interpersonal. Interpersonal is if you're very good with other people. Maybe you're the peacemaker. You're good at communicating with other people. Maybe a good leader. Intrapersonal is you know yourself very well. The class this morning is about multiple intelligences. It's about getting people to focus what they're good at, not what they're not good at. And I suppose with the group we have here, would have had bad experiences of school and maybe would associate it with intelligent as somebody who's very good. We hear phrases all the time like, their handwriting's very good, they're very smart, they're very intelligent. So if it's language, you're a good listener, talker, you like to write things down. So the idea behind doing this morning was to focus at where people are intelligent in various different areas. So everybody picked one, and through the collage as well, using pictures, where their intelligence lies. And I suppose the aim of the whole weekend is maybe looking at their 8 intelligence, maybe they're strong in one part, maybe they'd like to focus on another part to build it up. Okay, has everybody got 2 pictures then ready to stick on the...
2, is it?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Well, I go for 3. Well, this is what I'm at now, the term McAdam. Right?
Right.
And this is what I use now.
Okay.
Which I'm sick of.
You're sick of the shovel and the tarmac.
The shovel and the tear, so now I'm after getting a chance to get on this one, the computers.
Okay.
And hopefully, that if I stay at it, I can get away from those 2.
Right,
And
okay.
end up with just 1.
Okay, the computer.
Well, I suppose reading would be 5, 6 out of 10. And writing would be 0. I can write my name, yeah. I still use my mother's address. Because I learned how to write my address in school. I mean, where I live now, I can write it. From the area that I came from, that anybody that went to school and you look, you're going to end up in a building site on you. Do you know what I mean? So you'll have no need to write. At that time, there was no application forms or anything. We just went onto the site and you got a job. But it's all different now. When I first went to England, Petal stayed for a couple of weeks here. So I was trying to write back to her, like, you know.
I remember him sending me letters. Jesus, I was only 15. And like he said, he did invent the text because there was a boy over in the East Turris, you know, he'd cycle over with letters. And I'd say, in the name of God, what is that? I might say now, like, meet me at the church. You'd have to say, met, me. And I said, where am I supposed to meet him? But it was exactly the way they write text messages now. He was doing that when he was 15.
That's all I was sure was the mobile phone and be a wealthy man out. You see, England was kind of a bit more advanced. You had to fill in application forms. And you had to be able to read safety stuff and all that. So when Petal came over, that's what she taught me, you stay and taught me how to read.
Where was the job?
John Coffey's. I had 30 lads working for me at the time. But for an overdraft in the bank, and she'd come up to the bank with me. Because you'd have forms to fill out and that. And Liz would always say, look, we'll take them home and read them first. And she'd fill them out for me. So my bank manager never knew I couldn't write. My accountant never knew I couldn't write. Do you know, people that I worked for never knew I couldn't write. I never told them.
Go on another bit there, so Tony, and you can get the back. You're paying out so much every week, and then you're waiting on checks to come in from big companies. And there could be 3 or 4 months waiting on them, you know. And there was always something holding him back with forms. And he'd have overdrafts in the banks that he could only go so much. And then it was cut off. And you see, you had to have the money every Friday for the men.
If Pet went there on a Friday, I'd have to change just 1 cheque and pay the lads cash. Because I wouldn't be able to write their cheques. No, I could put down the figure, how much they were getting, right? But I couldn't put their names in there. And I couldn't put the amount. So if I put 800 down, I mean, two fellas caught me and they'd put a 1 in front of the 800. You know, and next one I just fill in the cheque for 1,800. So I wouldn't notice that until 2 months gone when I get a bank statement. But then they would be well gone from me, like. I mean, people know that the area that you come from, you're not a well-educated man. You know, and people exploit that. I mean, I was walking down Skippereen one day. I had 6 men working for me. And next time I had a phone call from the bank. Look, Keith, you owes us 120,000. That was pounds at the time. I just told her, I said, look, I said, if I don't get paid now, I said, I'll have no men and I'll get no money. But I mean, Petal never knew about that 120,000 that I owed. But the bank was after ringing herself first. And you can imagine the pressure then that she was under, like, thinking that is the house going to be taken off, is this going to be taken off? You don't need an education to make money, but you need an education to look after money.
I'm delighted he's doing it. And you know, if he can come out and just write a basics, I'd be happy as Larry with that.
My son, he has a taxi, but he's going to Russia. So I'm going to take over. I just want an easy life now. That's all. I worked hard enough. The thing is that every job you get now, you must write where you're going and where you're coming from. You know, the names and places and that. Like. So it will be a problem. You know, it'll be all going back to herself again. You know, which I don't want to because I know that the strain that we were under for so long. So I just want to kind of do it myself now and say, look, this is my baby now. I do it myself.
Back in the classroom, the group are looking at an everyday task that is challenging for those with reading and writing difficulties: cooking. They are joined by celebrity chef Kevin Dundon.
So Kevin is our guest for this afternoon and this evening. So basically, again, it's all linking up with multiple intelligence in relation to cooking. So it's looking at when I go into the supermarket, how much do I need of this, how much do I need of that? What we said is you need to set out, write it out or think it out in your head exactly how many am I catering for first, what ingredients do I need, and where do I get those ingredients and work out a budget. And that's exactly now what we're going to do now with Kevin.
Anyways, we've been set a challenge. We're going to come up with 2 courses and cook dinner for all of us. So there's 14 of us. So what we need to do is devise a menu and then figure out how much food we actually need to cater for all of us.
Chowder as a starter and shepherd's pie as the main course. Are people happy with it?
Making a meal involves a lot of reading and writing-based tasks, from reading menus and food packages to budgeting and measuring ingredients.
So 56 ounces of fish, is that right?
Yep, 1.4 kilos.
1.4 kilos, okay. So how much have we got there, Caroline? 48. Okay, so I'm going to put it here in the middle, guys, got no room at the end. So there's our starter. 48 euros is our starter.
Yeah, basically we've created 2 great recipes, written up the shopping list. We're here to buy the ingredients, find the ingredients, buy it, and keep it in a budget. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge, so it's a bit of fun. What do we need?
We need carrots.
Carrots there. Where are they? 2 packets, come on, Paul.
Many of the group have a routine when shopping for themselves. Shopping in an unfamiliar supermarket is a real challenge.
We have the leeks.
Okay.
We have the
Tarragon, yeah.
Tarragon.
When we were actually looking through the list, Carolyn was reading through the list, and I was quite impressed that she could actually read it. And then there was a word beside carrots that said packets. I said, well, we only need 1 packet. She said, oh, I never said that because I couldn't read that. Yeah, but no, but you're pointing it out, though. You're pointing out the word, though.
Yeah.
Like, what does that say?
Carrots.
What does that say?
I didn't know. That's why I didn't say that word.
So you actually memorised the whole list?
Yeah.
But you read everything else. This is what I memorised everything that we did earlier on in class of how we wrote it down, and then we just I said, it's amazing how you can have a weakness in some areas, like not being able to read properly, and then have a great memory on the other end. I'd love to have her memory as well. So.
So we do the veg first.
Is there garlic on there? Is there?
It says $5.99. Some people that would find a difficulty in pronouncing the word, putting the word together, would look out for the picture. And I noticed that together for Rose now trying to weigh the garlic, and she actually looked for the picture of the garlic.
I was a bit nervous because I usually kind of stick to the same shop, so I know where the aisles were and I know where everything was. But yeah, I'm doing okay.
Thanks a million. Cheers.
I think they did extremely well, particularly with the budgets. They're very budget-oriented. I don't actually know one job that I've ever done has actually come in on a budget, so well impressed.
The final stage in this task is the preparation of the food and the table for tonight's meal.
So we're going to set up you guys down here with the main course and starters up here, so you need your spuds.
Mirroring the theme for the weekend, they get to explore how people use different intelligences as well as learning new skills. The group are brought to a special location, Avoca House, and get working on tonight's dinner menu.
Oh, you got one there, yeah?
The group is split into teams in order to perform the various elements to complete the task: cooking, setting, and arranging. Some of the team are dropped into unfamiliar waters, but others are right at home.
There's nothing I like doing more than flowers, you know. When I'm doing them, I get an inner peace just, you know.
I've never seen flowers being made up like this before, and I just looking at the first one, I'd say, yeah, I picked it up already.
At the moment, I was just waiting for it to reduce, the wine to reduce in it. And just to get the carrots to bust into the celery. And they'd be...
It's the celery.
Celery in it. And we have no celery in it. No. Get the fucking celery!
To my eyes, the way people learn is actually physically seeing what you talk about. So we write it down. Then you physically watch someone do it, and then you actually do it yourself, and then with a supervisor beside you and correcting you. And that seems to stick for me. That's the best way for me to learn.
Yeah, I think you're marvellous. You know, I'm dyslexic.
Visiting pastry chef Louise Lennox also suffers from reading and writing problems.
I'm so embarrassed by it. So I think what you're doing is fantastic.
I did take a little bit of will I won't I, am I brave enough, you know, will I be able for it? But I'm just so glad I went ahead and done it. I can't spell, can't write. I can read, but what I can read is self-taught. I left school with no reading other than kind of it and like small words, 3-letter words. There were certain parts of school I would have liked, but just when it came to reading and writing, I was just lost. Like looking down a black hole, you know? And then the teachers, they only had so much time for you. And after that, if you didn't grasp what they were telling you, you lost interest, and then you kind of felt that you were picked on because you weren't as quick as the rest of the class. Well, I'm a mother the last 34 years, and I suppose when they be coming in, it was grand for the first year or two, and then when they start getting spellings and that's when the awkward, you know, it kind of got a bit difficult.
I think as kids you don't notice. Like, my mum would notice, and then she always had my dad's great. Like, he'd always help her, and so we wouldn't notice as much.
In school, obviously, if we needed a letter for school or anything like that, you notice as far as the handwriting was concerned and the spelling, you realise in that sense, you know.
Like, she writes down her own versions of, you know, a word or whatever. Like, she understands it, and I understand it now. Do you know what I mean? But if I picked it up years ago, I wouldn't make it out.
It have its obvious drawbacks, and especially with helping with homework or anything like that, you know, she'd have to kind of fob you off and pretend that you have to wait for your dad to come in.
Aliens. Do you think we'd put Rocky in there as an alien?
You know, if they wanted probably a note for school or something like that, well, I'd write out a note for them. You know, they couldn't get it from him, and maybe she might sign it, you know.
Was always busy putting the children through school, and then it was when they went to work, and like they'd be working there, so I was home for lunch, and I was kept busy that way. The last lad left early in the year, and I still look after my mum and dad up to today. But I needed to give myself some time, just some me time, to get back on my feet, to give myself maybe that little bit of confidence that I need, and to work on that part of my life, you know, and put myself back in the picture.
I didn't think she'd do it. Well, I didn't think she'd go ahead with being on camera because she can be quite nervous, so we didn't think she'd go ahead with it, so it was just real. She does it. It's up to herself.
I don't expect to go back and kind of get master's degrees or anything, but just, you know, the confidence that I can maybe write a birthday card.
Guys, don't forget your spelling. Remember your spelling dictionary there.
I'm at that time in life that I'm ready to learn. I'm actually open to it. Whereas I don't think, had it come into my life last year or the year before, I wouldn't have been open to it. I feel really open to learn, and I really feel I'm going to get a lot from it.
It's Saturday night at Avoca, and after a hard day's toil, the team finally serve up the meal.
Would you like it to shepherd's pie?
Working as a team, they all had different parts to play, whether it was preparing the food, cooking the food. So then it's back to interpersonal intelligence, bodily intelligence. They're good at their hands, which they had to be in the kitchen.
Compliments to all the chefs.
To all the chefs, there you go.
So I think overall, if nothing else, it showed that they work brilliantly as a team.
Absolutely.
And these 8 weeks aren't just about reading and writing, it's about personal development. So I suppose if you look at real life, you know, we need the mechanic to fix the car, we need the cook to be good in the restaurant, we need the plumber. But similarly, the intelligence lies in many, many different areas.
It's been a very enjoyable day.
It's had a good day,
yeah. And I think that when I came out and I saw the table arrangement, I couldn't believe that they came out of the gardens. They look fantastic, so.
Happy days. Cheers. Happy days. Cheers. No. Cheers. Cheers.
Early Sunday morning, the final day of weekend 4, the group dragged themselves out of bed for an early field trip to the local library in Blessington for their first class on the internet. But there are some empty seats on the bus.
It is a pity because it naturally will break the team a little bit. I mean, we've 11 students. I mean, what we saw yesterday was just amazing, just the guys all pulling together, and then the excitement last night of sitting down at the table and having our meal and enjoying the meal together. So yeah, I mean, these guys are not affected by it at the moment, but the other guys, I'm sure, when we get back to say what we've done, will be a bit downhearted that they missed out, but that's their choice.
The line that tells you what the email is about is called the subject. The subject.
After last night's celebrations, Noel, Paul and Keith are missing, and the class begins without them. Keith arrives half an hour later and joins the class.
Well, we finished late last night as well, and I was doing the chefing, and we had to mix the wine with the food. With the food, never got any wine. the wine strayed. That's what to our mouths. And we were small, bit sick this morning, but it won't happen again anyway.
Back in Cork, Keith is involved in the local Celtic supporters club. They hold their weekly meetings in the Anglers Sports Bar.
I was secretary that, and then I was dropped down, but I was probably dropped down because I wouldn't be able to do all the writing that Small Willie does, you know. And then I went on to treasurer, and we all get our own chance at it.
Never had an argument amongst any of the lads that go. That's why we kind of keep the group tight. That there's only kind of the same faces nearly all the time, like, and if someone new joins us, we actually take them away for a weekend here.
Yeah, just to try them out.
To try them out, see how they react after 20 pints.
See, is he good in bed? Well, normally, that's after the speaker comes in on a Saturday evening, we all kind of have a drink at the bar together, you know? Like Bob was saying that half of them are coming into the class asleep, you know, on Saturday mornings and Sunday morning. I don't know whether I was getting the blame for or not, but it was kind of pointed at me, you know. I mean, like, I'd be quite used to having a few pints, and I get up at 7 o'clock every morning, yeah. I mean, it's like the kids there, that's when 5 and 6 years ago, they get a break and they run around the yard and whatever. I mean, we want a break in the evening. I mean, we start at 5 o'clock on a Friday and we walk straight through until a Sunday. I mean, we do work hard up there, like, for people. I mean, I suppose it's easier, that's what, to educate children than what it is to educate us.
Yeah, reply. Have you read that, Keith? Have you read
what we've learned now in the classroom has been put into practice, and it's brilliant that we had the library to ourselves, and you weren't feeling that you were in anybody's way. I think that's what we automatically think. We're in someone's way, or, you know, that you can't ask. It's given us the confidence now to use it in our own libraries, to go in and to go online or to ask about the computer. I think I'm a little bit more intelligent than I give myself credit for. When I tell people how I managed or how I, you know, got around the writing and the spelling, they're amazed. They say, but the intelligence it took to get around that. I had to go to the North Pole and back again rather than fill out a form. Because you can't read and write and spell, you're not stupid, because we wouldn't have got here and maybe reared in families like if we were stupid.
If you would like to improve your reading, writing and numeracy, call the National Adult Literacy Agency on free phone 1800 2020 65. That's 1800 2020 65.